we go. Excuse me, a bit croaky this morning. And g'day Robert, g'day David, g'day Alan. Another Saturday morning after a Friday night raging in the town. A few minutes to start. Yeah, so just a bit of a heads up. Todd's down in Krabi at the moment taking care of business. We'll just leave it at that. Well, I'll probably give you a bit more of an insight towards the end of the stream, what's going on there. Bit of bad news all around. We've had a few untimely departures from planet Earth this week. We'll get to that. Bit of somber note. Let's keep it up. Okay, so we got 9 viewers. There we go. I'll just start the news rolling. What do we got? You probably don't want to see my big face all morning, so let's go down here and go minimise that. How's that? Better. Okay. Now, g'day, Malcolm K. Good morning. How are you? Okay, so I had a thought that we could go and look at the property market. That's why I picked this article this morning. Priorities revealed in latest Terra survey. I saw some interesting numbers out of this article when I read it earlier this week. But anyway, citing a security system, after sales service and good neighbourhoods are the top three. Citing security systems, after sales service and good neighbourhoods are the top 3 requirements consumers considered when buying residential units, according to property research consultancy Terra Media. Yeah, okay, well that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Consumers categorise Z, X, Y, Z. Most important, the baby boomers was a good neighbourhood. Right, goods after sales service came second among Generation X. Yes, okay. Baby boomers price came 7th as they prioritise other factors such as security systems, after sales service, project surroundings, materials, functions inside the property. Different people have different ideas. But this study carried out earlier this year, 2,001 respondents, still a fairly small group, aged 18 older and above, intended to buy residential property within 3 years, had personal income of more than 9,000 baht per month. Of the 1,000 samples selected, 84% planned to buy a house and 36% were second-time buyers. G'day Gator Jake, how are you? I thought that was interesting, 84% people in the next 3 years plan to buy a home. I don't know what with, I wouldn't even think that people of 9,000 baht a month could even be considered for buying a home, but hey. More than 44% wanted to buy a single detached house, and 29% wanted a condo. 31% had the budget of 3 to 5 million baht to buy a unit, which is about standard. Ours was 3.8 million. Wellbeing features are a new trend. Wellbeing features are a new trend among home buyers. They need projects that promote wellbeing rather than comparing price and all locations. Top 5 wellbeing features were cutting-edge security systems, utility management, project, more green areas, energy saving features, smart home and electric vehicle charger. Well, they're thinking ahead, I guess. The age between 27 and 40 years old were the largest group of potential home buyers, with 88% wanting to buy a unit. Some 38% would buy a second home and 29% first home. Mark in Thailand, g'day, how you doing? Most of Gen Y wanted a single detached house priced between 3 to 7 million baht and considered factors such as cutting-edge security, universal design, designed for all genders at ages as well as 24-hour common area. Okay. The majority, 87% of Gen Z's consumers ages plan to buy a residential unit, with 72% planning to buy one as a first home and 17% as a second home. They looked for either a condo or a a detached house price between 2 to 5 million. I just found it interesting the fact that that there's so many Thais have actually got money to buy houses, so close to only just the recovery starting. I think they're a little bit optimistic. We're heading for another GFC from what I've seen, some financial data. If it's as bad as 2008, which they're predicting, it could mean an early departure from Thailand for me, because I couldn't stay here unless, of course, I have my what do you call it, my planned retirement savings system. Because like GFC, my portfolio halved over the GFC, and if that happened again, that's it. It's all over, bar the shouting. I could not survive on what's left. That's for certain. Such is life when you got retirement savings. I'm sure a few of the people watching here probably have that as well. So there you go. But anyway, if you want to talk about property, we could talk about it after we go to the news articles, or we could look at it next week when Todd's back. Where would I go? Well, I'd probably have to go back home. I might have to even get a job. For crying out loud, Jesus. I've got a couple of places I can go to in Australia. So I've got a couple of mates that I'm fairly good, pals with, that would put me up until I got back on my feet. It's not that I would be on my knees, but I definitely couldn't stay here in Thailand, that's for certain. But yeah, let's just keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't happen again. But there's $64 trillion tied up in derivatives. That's sort of like the second derivatives in the mortgage market, which are currently being found to be unaccounted for on anybody's books. And it's looking like they're going to have to, come to the party and show where the money is, because $64 trillion is just not on the balance sheet across the globe. Justin Finney said he'd have me back, really? I don't know what do you want me to come and run the show down there again, does he? Yeah, I'd have to go back through my history to see if I can find the article. It was about 2 or 3 days ago. It was, I think it was coming through Reuters. So I think it was a Reuters article I was reading up, and I'm going, oh my God, these are the sort of things that worry me living here in Thailand. I don't qualify. I don't qualify for the Australian pension, even though I paid my tax all my life, right? But because I live in Thailand permanently, effectively, I don't qualify for the Australian pension. So I have to rely on my own, retirement planning, which is always the plan. But the bottom line is the fact that if my portfolio gets halved again in the GFC, I could not sustain the 3 years it'll take to rectify itself, if you know what I mean. It'll just deplete deplete the funds, because I just have to on minimum of $30,000 a year to live here in Thailand. So that's what it costs. People talk about the cost of living and how cheap you can live here in Thailand. Well, you got a missus, you got a mortgage, you got entertainment, food and everything else. It's cheap to live here in Thailand. I couldn't do what I do here in Australia for certain. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. But I can take care of Chanya and Chanya's mum and do all the necessary stuff here, and it's a comfortable life. My next 15, 20 years are all planned until I depart, as they say, and until I ascend to a higher level. Yeah, would you need you would need 2 full years back in Australia to get the pension. Yeah, exactly. Go to Jake. What? You paid into your pension for years, but since you live in Thailand, you'd get nothing. Don't do right. It's just, look, Australian laws are that way around, and I still have to pay my tax, even though I know I'm not going to get a pension. I still am required to pay. Well, my tax is minimal, but it's I'm only being taxed on my held savings, because the other savings is an index fund, it's an index portfolio, but it's actually superannuation guaranteed index portfolio, so it's not affected by all the other stuff that goes around, you know. But it's just little articles like that. It brings your attention to it. I want to know more about how the banks can get away with this shit, you know. You know, no heads are rolling, right? Yeah, I would have been in Thailand 5 years earlier if it wasn't for the GFC. But when you go for these what they call high performance, portfolios, which is what I've got, you got to roll with the punches. You know, like in the good years, you're doing 18 to 20% per annum. But in like in the last 2 years, I think it went down 100,000 in 2020. It recovered in 2021, but it only made 13,000 growth over 2021, which is not even half of my what they call yearly savings. But the whole idea is when it is performing well, it's growing at about 30 or 40,000 a year, that's the plan, if you know what I mean. I'm not touching it yet. I'm still working on what they call cash savings. That's the way it goes. I noticed my Citibank account portfolio as well. They're starting to pay me more interest. So I guess the interest rates in banks for held savings is going up a bit because the interest rates on that fund was what they call a high holding fund. That didn't perform last year or the year before either. Like barely 1% per annum. But yeah, it's the way it goes. Yeah, it's like there's levels of risk you got to take, and it's really one of those things that I'm a bit of a risk taker, and I come from the school of thought. We are here for a short time, right? And you're going to make the most of it. You've got to plan for continuation of that short time fun, right, for a long time period, but don't sacrifice the fun, for the fun you're going to have in a wheelchair when you're 70, because it's just not the same. I'd rather have 15 to 20 years of fun, here in Thailand, from 55 to 75, rather than, wait till 67 and then do it on a walking frame. It just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, get a reduced pension after moving away, but still enough for a happy life. Well, that's because you come from Switzerland. That's why. Yeah, that's just one of those sort of things. Anyway, I don't want to talk about my woes. We can just keep our fingers crossed that it's not going to be a problem. And by the way, like if you want to come and join the chat group, I'll put the other windows up. But since it's only me here today, a little version of me down here is all right, isn't it? Okay, moving right. Look, this is the one that really did. Like, there is some numbers here I'm going to go through and it's going to blow some people's minds. Thailand's cannabis legal vacuum spawns multi-billion baht business plus health concerns. Some multi-billion baht business plans that caught my eye, but then I started to read the article and I'm going, what? Thailand has spent, we know that they spent 6 months trying to pass laws to control, that's the second reading, blah, blah, blah. Pot up for grab. Cannabis was delisted, we know all the story, okay. Where are we? There's no way to highlight it. So as complaints about the impacts of unregulated recreational use grew, particularly from the medical sector, Public Health Ministry clamped down last month by declaring the herb's potent buds a controlled substance. We all know about that. But many shops are still selling the cannabis buds, and some of them are earning up to 1 million baht per day. What? 1 million baht per day. Now that's an industry that they're not going to shut down overnight. Honestly, that's some money floating around there that could buy governments, especially here in Thailand. It's a very nice looking plants there. I like these stunted versions. But Bill under doubt. Yeah, so the member of the medical committee would be worried about cannabis use in Thailand if the marijuana bus. Yeah, if you check its contents carefully, you'll find that it liberalises cannabis here in Thailand even more than in other countries where recreational use is permitted. And I have to admit, that is definitely something that I have to agree upon. Like I've been sort of watching around the globe, apart from maybe some island states in the mid-Pacific somewhere. We've got some fairly, well, it's not such fairly liberal laws, it's just the fact that we've got lack of enforcement of some of the laws, that's all. For instance, Canada, we don't have to go through other ones. This draft law aims to allow people to use recreational marijuana only because the use of marijuana has been allowed in Thailand since 2020, she added. Yeah, high rollers, exactly. Yeah, I just saw that number. I want to see those balance sheets. I'm in the wrong business. But Article 37.5 of the bill also states that the designated venue for pot smoking if it has been approved by the marijuana committee. So there is a caveat in their article to allow these Amsterdam-style shops, but they're currently sort of going against that particular idea. Not that I've seen anybody really being sort of put out by it. Recreational marijuana. They said the marijuana bill was written in such a way that allows recreational use of marijuana. Yeah, okay. He added that the Public Health Ministry's failure to impose effective controls on the marijuana use came from a conflict of interest. Yeah, well, okay, it's a political stunt. More harm than good. This is what a 2018 study. Who funded the study? Right. We want to know. One study doesn't make it rule. Two of the studies on the effects of marijuana use in the US state of Colorado concluded that for every dollar earned in taxes on sales of marijuana, the state spent $4.50 to treat the adverse impacts of the use. Could we have an associated value on alcohol abuse, just to give it some context, because the alcohol abuse in America is like 20 times worse than that. So I don't know what tree they're barking up, but yeah, we know the fact that certain people should not be taking the drug to start with, and then end of story. If you consume marijuana today, you may still feel okay next year, but you may start feeling the consequences after 10 years. I don't know, I just thought that was old age, my arthritis, my back pains, my shoulder pains, my neck pains. That's old age. I'm feeling no ill effects after smoking for 35 years, so I don't know where they're fucking coming from. But anyway, these doctors have got no idea. Orton Stance. Okay, so this is the guy that's really the shot caller here in Thailand. Despite all the criticism, Ayrton has stood firm on his policy to liberalise marijuana, dismissing all concerns and attacks, including the online petition calling for the legalisation to be revoked. We can't just backtrack. People have made billion baht investments in the marijuana sector. If we declare marijuana legal again, our country will lose credibility and suffer serious economic damage. It's going to be like that. Yeah, I feel more ill effects from a curry, Mark. That's one thing I have to be careful of with my glass stomach. And that's another thing, I got a glass stomach, I got to take, antacids, to keep it in a functional state. Otherwise I start burping and regurgitating and, old age. Maybe too much coffee. Every person and organisation has a duty to abide by rules of law. If something is prohibited under the ministerial regulation, then it is prohibited. You don't need to wait for a law to declare it illegal before taking action, the minister said. On Wednesday, the Senate postponed its second reading from the country, and it is postponed till next week. So more on that subject next week. Okay, a little bit more light-hearted stuff. Okay, what's on in Pattaya today? Pattaya in Thailand. Pattaya. The only reason I put this up is I've had a few people, there's a few people on the different Reddit forums and other forums around the place, like Thai or was it Asian Visa or what they call themselves now, dissing the whole. What do you do if you're retired in Thailand? Well, there's lots of shit. If you can't think of what to do, you shouldn't be coming. But yeah, like this is just Pattaya, for instance. Alibaba Indian Tandoori. Well, I might get that one a miss. That one just goes straight through me. The trouble with curry, they don't tell you. It's actually twice as hot on the way out. The home at home bar, John 10 Complex. Jackpot's we won. There you go. Bang Sari Beach Club, daily special menus. Caddyshack quizzes. Caddyshack quiz every Tuesday. English style pub restaurant is located in Soy 8. Collingborn auction here. There's lots of stuff going on. The reason why I'm bringing that up is we just had part of our crew went down to Pattaya. I keep on saying Pattaya because it's an Australian way of saying it. They went to Pattaya last week for 2 or 3 days, and all they did was pub crawl. Yeah, they wondered why I didn't go. I said, well, they did that. We did the 3 or 4 days last time, and I had a whole list of things I wanted to go and check out in Pattaya, but they just wanted to cruise down the bars. Honestly, you've seen one bar, you've seen them all, and quite easily go to the bars in Bangkok without them to put up with hotel accommodation and everything else down in Pattaya. So there you go. Yeah, I'm not a Pattaya fan. Sorry, you guys can have it. I did do the Motor Expo yesterday, so that's a video coming out next week. Also got a bit of a tuk-tuk ride from last night, which will be on, I think, Patreons and members only, which I'll get coded this weekend as well. Yeah, so lots and lots of stuff going on. Yeah. It could be a fun place. Okay. Bangkok's running out of money. Bangkok to fill coffers by increasing tobacco and hotel stay taxes. There you go. So it's going to cost more to stay in Bangkok now. So Pattaya might be a better bet. I believe that the accommodation there is very inexpensive. Okay. Jorgen, hey, how you doing? Bangkok Metropolitan BMA plans to amend the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration Act of 1985 to generate additional revenue in order to fulfil its objective of collecting 80 billion baht for the current fiscal year. Well, 80 billion baht, well, doesn't seem like much. Go to Jake. I've got a bail for now. Hell, I guess that's because I've just got a Bali article. Bail for now. Have a great... Yeah, okay, Jay. We'll catch you next time. Yeah, she's still in bed, by the way. Governor Surit stressed the importance of amending the Act, acknowledging that he had previously believed it was within the City Hall's jurisdiction to earn revenue through collection of tobacco and hotel stay taxes. He said the bill for the amendment will be drafted, sent to Ministry for Cabinet as a consideration. Well, that may not happen. The BMA authority collected taxes on land, buildings and signs, together with accompanying fines and costs for issuing various permissions. The governor estimated that this amounts to between 10 and 20 million baht every year. Since the BMA has set a tax target of 80 billion for the fiscal year, authorities are considering additional avenues such as upgrading its databases on local taxes, tightening regulations on enterprises that harm the environment under the polluter pays principle, good idea, and collecting car parking fees. The BM also investigated whether the revenue collection process in Bangkok is standardised throughout all areas while considering utilising the open data policy to ensure transparency. Yeah, so it looks like hotel stay tax is going to go up next year if they get that one passed. Right, what have we got over here? So, next week, well, come on, what's my mouse doing? Could we just go back to the top? Thank you. Bangkok could hit lows of 18 degrees Celsius this week. That's quite warm for you, isn't it, Jorgen? Yeah, you're okay, sleeping home 6 hours after you, I know. Well, Thailand's going to, they still love it. 18 degrees and wrapped up like this. I think it's comical because I see Chanya doing it. She's got 2 doonas on the bed. Luckily, we've got a bed bag. She can have the 2 doonas on her side. It's all right. I'll have mine on mine. Get your woolly jumpers out ready. Surrounding areas in Bangkok could hit lows of 18 Celsius next week, according to Thailand's meteorological department. Between December 12th to 14th, Thai capital will feel cold and breezy for the first time in a long time. The department's predictions are correct. A moderate high pressure cell from China is expected to cover up upper Thailand and the South China Sea between 8th to 10th, reported the department. The cell will cause cool temperatures, morning fog, light rain in some areas of the northern and eastern Thailand, low pressure. Yeah, so it's going to get cold. That's in Bangkok, but it's probably going to get colder up north anyway. G'day, Paul. How you doing? Northern Thailand, 16 to 23. Mountain tops could reach as low as 13 degrees. Ranging 10 to 30 kilometres an hour, so strong winds. Minimum temperatures range 13 to 20 degrees Celsius and maximum 28 to 31 Celsius. Mountain tops as low as 8. Okay, so that's 8 to 10 to 11 to 14. Okay, so single digits. Oh my God. Yeah, get your bikini on, exactly. Well, hope it's not a mankini. Oh my God, that's something that should be completely banned worldwide. Here's snow. Oh, you got some snow. Okay, we've got to go to a place in Dreamworld to get snow. Eastern Thailand, which is usually quite hotter than Bangkok. So what have we got? 30 to 34 degrees. 29 to 32, so that's Isan. Southern Thailand, east coast, 12 to 14, so 8 to 11, 8, they're not given temperatures here, okay. Okay, right, so there's no temperature to southern, west coast, minimum temperature range 22 to 25. Yeah, so it's going to be a bit brisk. Get out your woolly jumpers. Yes. I thought I'd just diverse and talk about this because it does affect Thailand as well. What's next for Bali? Have you heard about this thing? This is ridiculous. The draconian overhaul of the country's criminal code. Indonesia criminalises sex outside marriage. The reforms include a ban on cohabitation between unmarried couples and would apply both to Indonesians and tourists. Not sure how they're going to check on that situation, but the coitus patrol. Okay. I read it takes a family member to I didn't find that in the article, but I've only skimmed the article. Yeah, okay, so unmarried couples, cohabitation. This angered rights activists. Of course it's going to anger a lot of people. These rules were proposed a few years ago. It didn't happen. That was from one person. Indonesia needs tourists to come, but what if foreigners aren't married and want to come here? I think it'll harm. Yes, a lot of people sort of think it's a ridiculous idea. While India is a majority Muslim country, Bali is Hindu, with more than 300,000 tourists a month visiting. Putzlos is a local driver who feels tourism could be affected, deterring young couples from overseas. Yeah. Oh, thanks for that, Jorgen. If you come here and can't have sex, they'll think about coming to Bali. As for the Thailand's expat community, similar conversations are going on. There you go. Bit slow there, Streamlabs. There you go. Look at that beach. Oh my God. Here is the raw beauty all over. There is raw beauty all over and around Bali. The island boasts a myriad of impressive volcanoes, coastline beaches, crystalline beaches, world-class diving and diverse nightlife. That looks disgusting. I'm glad they're cleaning it up, but yeah. I haven't seen Thailand beaches that bad, thankfully. The ones that I've been to anyway. Travel blogger Chris, I feel a bit sorry for Bali because it's stepping back in time. I would not say it does affect me at all. I'm still thinking about it. For young couples whose parents could report them, it's sober. It's just the parents could report an Australian resident living with his Indonesian girlfriend who asked to remain anonymous because the law. He's a bit nervous. Well, I suppose you would be. You could marry her. Obviously, there are so many great things to living in Bali, but stuff like that hanging over your head is a little nerve-wracking, probably because my girlfriend and friends, it seems more of a concern for Indonesians. Yeah, they won't get any extra Christmas money. But yeah, what is this world? Honestly, what's wrong with them? Your imaginary friend in the sky is Fruit Loops. Anyway, I think I mentioned this. We're talking about we talked about the taxi meter and the price rises, but this has been floating around. A passenger of a taxi in Bangkok, Thailand, filmed the meter rising suspiciously quickly and posted on Twitter asking for netizens, "Is this normal?" So you got 440. Oh, so no. I'm trying to work at the time, but 440, so it's 6 seconds, and it goes up 6 baht. That's another 10 seconds, looking for that number, and it's gone up another 8 baht. Yeah, there's something wrong with that meter. Over officious hotel managers will check marriage certificates. I'm sure they will. Bali looks good, but we will not go there for a couple of years anyway. I have no plans to go to Bali. Never really sort of come into any sort of equation in my books, but a lot of people from Australia do like it because it's a fairly short plane trip. Anyway, so yeah, it's just normal. Do you want to be famous and make a famous return in commerce with the Facebook page? Passenger said they got in a taxi at Dong Mu Airport and the meter had already risen to 347 baht by the time they were approaching Ding Dang Expressway. When the female driver saw the passenger filming the meter, she suddenly turned it off, despite having a while to go until they reached their destination, said the passenger. The passenger paid the expensive bill. I don't know how they determined the bill to turn the meter off, and said they regretted not asking for a receipt. However, they did note that the taxi's registration started with, well, that's not going to help. What's that? That's Guy. What's that? I'm still not good on my Thai. The clip has been sent both. The clip has been sent to the Department of Transport and Airports of Thailand and has no response. Taxi drivers here in Thailand are required by law to set the price of a journey using a taxi meter. Right? It's law. Yeah. Dodgy meters, yeah. However, taxi drivers in Bangkok often ask passengers to agree on a higher price before the journey starts, often citing traffic to avoid using the meter and making more money, hoping the passenger, especially if they are a tourist, is unaware of the law. Yeah, just make sure that there is a law. Perhaps the taxi driver in the clip thought that she could doctor the meter to move faster and earn more money without even asking for more. It looks like the meters, if you didn't know, have what they call an idle setting. So if the vehicle is stopped for any more than 1 minute, the meter will tick over as, like traffic. It's like the traffic metering, because they have varying rates, for the distance of travel. Like short distances, the meter goes at like 6 baht per kilometre, and it goes 7 baht, 8 baht kilometre, and after 10 kilometres to 20 kilometres, something like that. I don't have the schedule, but yeah. But one of the things they do have is, they do cover the traffic thing, and there is an idle timer as well. But it looks like they've doctored the idle timer on that one. Perhaps a taxi driver. Yeah, we did that. AOT recently reported entering negotiation with Grab to fill taxi shortages at Svanapon and Dongmuan. Tourists are back in almost full force, yet only 500 of the 2,500 taxis registered at Dongmuan Airport are actually in service. Really? Okay. Might be a bit of a traffic jam there. I need to make all of Thailand first, right? Then I can convince Wazza to go to Sweden. I wouldn't mind visiting Sweden. It's one of the countries that has a certain genetic heritage with my name. Wouldn't mind, because my name Gertie is just it's a derivative of the deity Gerd, which is a Scandinavian deity. But yeah, enough of that. Anyway, so that's a bit of, we've got to watch out for these taxi meters. Normally, it's 200 from Sukhumvit, Nana area. It's on a Friday night coming home after the BTS. It's normally about 275 to 300 baht for the meter to come to here, and I only give them a 100 baht tip, But I think the guy on the taxi last night, he was, after 4 taxis being flagged down, this is the 5th one. I was ready to sort of, bite the bullet and, barter with him. But I got in and I gave the guy a 100 baht tip. But it was pretty cool. He was quite happy about that. But he was sort of saying 500 baht and going, no, you shouldn't do that. And he relented. Some taxi drivers aren't too bad. Anyway, fireworks. Yeah, so what's on in Bangkok? Well, we've got fireworks to dazzle Bangkok's Chao Phraya River New Year's Eve. I had suggested going down to check this out and doing something down the river, but Chanya says, no, let's have a quiet New Year at home like we did last year. Obviously that means I've got to go and find where all these fireworks are selling. Last year I only had a couple of days notice and there wasn't much left. I think I have to go to the market to probably pop out to Sanam Song today or tomorrow and see if we can find some fireworks to light up the street. But we've got some of Shanya's friends coming over. I think Todd's coming down and a few others are coming over. So we're going to have a barbecue, Aussie style, BYO. If a taxi is okay, then crazy cheap. Example: Central Pub and home 2,000 baht for a taxi. Taxi prices in Australia are crazy. I know I haven't paid a taxi price in Australia for over 6 years. The last time I got a taxi was from my home to the airport, and that was $125. Yeah. That wasn't including I had to pay the bridge toll as well, so it's $127 then, wasn't it? So Bangkok is doing a big fireworks display. Well, they do it on every year. Well, there's a couple of years they didn't do it for the COVID stuff, but big fireworks display. Best places to see it. And there'll be lineups of famous international artists, Mark Duan, from a South Korean boy band. All fireworks displays will be broadcast via TV channels as well as online platforms such as Icon Siam's Facebook page. You don't know, so there we go. You want? I don't know. I'm sure you can find it. Nation Thailand. Even the collaboration between Icon Siam government agencies and business partners at the event in the collab. Icon Siam's manager. Yes, it looks like it's been put on by Icon Siam, so it's probably one of the better places to check it out from. Jack's Bar would be a good place to go and hang out, because you're basically facing across the river there to Icon Siam. The fireworks are illuminated. The sky. There he is. Very slow today, Mr. Streamlabs. Fireworks. was it Thailand Breto for a short cross from November 26th. So there was a one in Pattaya last month. Okay. Festival pitch, stunning fireworks displays from Canada. Yeah. So keep that in mind if you're in Bangkok across New Year. I don't think their fireworks is anywhere comes close to what they do in Sydney, but they do a pretty good show. Anyway, that was all the articles that come. Well, just a thing for upcoming barbecue. Thank you. Other articles, landslides, stray elephants, not much else. Stock markets mixed and renewed. US federal rate fears, but the market did climb this week. Energy demand's poised to grow 3.2%. I'll tell you what, the motor show yesterday. Oh my God, EV. There's EVs coming out of the everywhere. Honestly, looks like Thailand's doing a big push for the EV market. MG have 3 models and they're very reasonably priced. If we saw those pricings last year, I might have even stretched the extra 100,000 baht to get an EV model. But I'm very much a skeptic when it comes to EV. They got these little plaques on the side of the windows of the demo cars in the thing, with the O2 emissions saying big zero. And what about the emissions we created to actually make the electricity? It's not free. They're burning coal somewhere else, to make that electricity to charge your car. It's not zero emission. Come on. I wish I'd stopped using these half-truths to really sort of tell the world what it's like, So many people are dumb though. Investor optimism returns amid tourism recovery. Yes. I think they're looking like the numbers banded around, but I think they're probably ready at the airport in the next day or two. I saw on one of the articles there to greet the 10 millionth visiting tourist this year. There's going to be a big fanfare at the airport. Not quite sure how they're going to work out. What if that 10 millionth person comes through Dongmu and they're waiting at Singapore, or if they're waiting at Singapore and they come in? How does that work? You can't be at 2 places at once. Just enjoy your day. Yes, move on. Have a good sleep. Swadee krap. Grab to focus on long-term journeys. Okay. Regional airlines continue to loss. There was one I saw. There was Air Asia is actually doing direct flights to Australia. Not sure where it is. It was down the bottom here. Air Asia direct flights to Australia. A boon for tourism Thailand. So there you go. Some cut price fares might make a few more people interested in coming to Thailand. The Tourism Authority has welcomed Air Asia's new direct flights between Bangkok and 2 major cities, Melbourne and Sydney, which launched earlier this month. So the 2 new direct flights have been launched in time for tourism's peak season, would make Bangkok and other Thai destinations more accessible for Australian tourists, allowing them to experience everything under the Visit Thailand Year 22-23 Amazing New Chapters campaign. That's a freaking mouthful. VTYAN, they can't have an anagram it either. Yes, I'm on Air Asia this week. Couldn't get it to Thailand, couldn't get to Thai Airways. It's Thai Airways still doing direct flights, so I know they shut a lot of stuff down, but yeah. According to reports, 273,067 Australians visited Thailand between January 1 and November 28. I think Mark visited 3 times, so there's only 207. We'll take 3 off that because he come a few times. They probably counted him 3 or 4 times. Is that right, Mark? Yeah. They're still probably safer than they're probably still safer than riding on a Thai motorcycle. But yeah, that indicated that it was targeting several key market segments from Australia, including families, digital nomads, special interests such as weddings and honeymoons, health and wellness, and sports tourism. Sports tourism. Okay, maybe motor racing. I don't know. Didn't think much of Thailand's sport would be in Australia's eyesight apart from motor racing. But anyway, I don't know everything. Thailand will also offer more green tourist attractions to tourists from Australia and other countries as transition to more sustainable and responsible tourism. So there you go. What else we got? Bad stuff happens here in Thailand. Man stabs passerby in Bangkok, killed one, injured one. Cat killer flees and feels no guilt over a sadistic act. Should hang, draw and quarter him. Got the taximeter one. Plumber murders and robs Thai woman in Bangkok. Some crazy shit going on at the moment. 4 return trips about to start the 5th. Aha! Excellent. Are you coming in late there? Good to have you along. Airways was about to start 2 flights per day, was it? Okay. Oh, Thai were about to, Thai Air, 2 flights per day. They were doing 12 flights before COVID, weren't they? No, actually, no, I think peak they were doing 3 flights from Sydney. That was when I was doing all the commuting stuff. There's a big fire at Central World, but the safety systems were found to be not at fault. Well, they didn't do much for the fire. They had a big fire in Central World about 3 years ago. I remember Tim was there and he got a really well-rated video because he was actually on the spot. 6 months governor. Yeah, the governor here is also Andy's Travels. G'day, Andy. So the Bangkok governor, he's they go 81.55 approval rating. He seems to be doing the right thing. Putana fire for connection exposed. Got that. Yeah, we did this is an old article. Bangkok Post. Tourism labour shortfall. So this is the thing. They did the cannabis thing. They changed the law and then backtracking and trying to make new laws to cover their little indiscretion. They're pushing all the tourism and they got no. I can't work this one out. I see plenty of ties around the place not working. They just don't want to work in the tourism industry for some reason, or maybe it's a lot of Thai men don't have jobs because the tourism industry don't really want Thai men. They want Thai women to be working in the bars. But yeah, tourism gradually recovers following the lifting of restrictions and reopening the borders because businesses are dealing with a shortage of staff to meet the surge in demand. So there you go. Robert Max back in the house. G'day, Robert again. More assets seized, energy forecast, document forgery. Latest news. Street cleaning. Pattaya walking street bars inspected for safety and fire exits. There's been a big crackdown in the last week on visa overstays. There's been some articles left, right, and centre of people being caught. I don't want to go into it, but yeah. So don't overstay your visa. They're cracking down. I think the crackdown finishes today or something. I think it's 10th. What day is it? It's the 10th. I think the crackdown. 1st to the 10th of December was a big crackdown on tourism on the visa requirements. Electronic visa for Thailand, yes. I don't know. Do they tell you what countries and cities? Okay. Royal Family General Consulate is often located in. Okay. Not Australia. Typical. That's of course I didn't see it there. Okay. Online visas, but not Australia. We've been left out again. Okay. That's normal. No. Lots of stuff going on. Yeah, okay. A bit of a all-hand news. Just quickly, Yeah, Todd's in Krabi at the moment, and I'll give you a bit of a heads up on that, just the solemn note. Because I did actually see there was a post in here. There was a it was I didn't know Darren McGarry, but he's a well-known figure down in Pattaya. He passed this week. I think Ian Royale. I only know him loosely, 2 or 3, friends removed. But he passed away this week as well. Condolences to our friends and family. Both of them, I understand, were sudden deaths, but more local. This is the long and the short of it. I had a photo from last week. Where are we? Here we go. This is a special photo for our mate on the right there. Just making sure it's the right, because sometimes these photos flip. That was our mate Fidel. He's been a great compatriot for Todd, because Todd met Fidel through the Home Pro systems when he was furnishing his house and doing all the reworking and everything else. Fidel was up at Kochi on Monday night having a couple of beers after work, stood up from the table and promptly fell down. We still haven't got a coroner's report, but the guy's 28 years old and died of a heart attack, and it's totally been a complete this whole week has just been completely just what the hell's going on with the planet. So Todd, being fairly close to the family, he's been down to see Fidel's family previously down south, down near the border towns, Malaysian border down there, Songkla. So he got to know the family, got to stay there a few days, and he's been fairly close with the family unit up here. So he's gone down to Krabi to go through the funeral rites with the family. So the funeral, that's why he's not, because the actual ceremony is today. They're doing a traditional Thai Buddhist funeral, so it's a 7-day, it's just a whole 7-day event. So this is the funeral rites day, which is I think day 3, and then of course day 7 is when they actually put it through the kiln and cook the Tupperware. So it's Todd's gone down to help out, and it's really hit him quite bad, because Todd, if you know, he's seen a lot of death, a lot of friends, over his career. And it's just like a slap in the head with a slice of lemon wrapped around a large gold brick, if you know what I mean. And he's such a funny character. Like he just had a promotion, everything, and it's just really quite a sad week for us, But Todd's coping, from what I understand. His messages indicate that he's coping, he's helping out. The long and the short of the whole deal there, and I think I'm okay to talk about it. Fidel's family, it's the wife, Fidel's mother, is Buddhist, and comes from Songkla, so they're in a Buddhist country, Thailand, blah blah blah. But the husband, or the father, he's Muslim, and not quite sure exactly what. I'm sure Todd will tell us next week, but supposedly on Thursday this week, or last week, the husband and his mates raided the temple and tried to steal the coffin. What? Well, of course, under Muslim law, they must be put in Muslim tradition. They need to be put in the ground the same day they die, or it's bad karma or something, or whatever. Allah comes down and shits on people. I don't know. So there was a big hoo-ha, and Todd almost got into military mode to take care of the shit. I think he was calmed down by other people there, because he was just there. It was one of those weird ones. So the husband tried to tried to steal the body so he could bury it. Oh my God! Only Thailand, I'm sure. But yeah, it's just as I said, the downside of this week. We've had, well, it happens to three people we know of. Yeah, and a bit of an, yeah. It's just one of those sort of things. Let's just not dwell on the matter. But yeah. We're just a little bit lost at the moment about what to do, because like we had plans for riding this week and all that sort of stuff, and that straight out the door. I understand the family's doing well. Todd's coping, and hopefully we'll be back next Wednesday or Thursday. He hopes, but he's having a bit of a holiday now down there. He's making himself useful, filling in the gap for the necessary things that need doing. So. Yeah, and it's all down in Krabi for some. I don't know why they're not in Songkla, but it's all happening down at Krabi. So there you go. Well, I guess he gets to see Krabi, and I guess that puts some dampers, because he was also planning to go down to Songkla in January. So, and as well as come back to Australia as well. So his whole things have been up and down and a roundabout. But anyway, the sad note. But I thought I'd just let you guys know. And just final closing. Oh, look at these lovely buds. Look at the lovely buds, budding up nicely. This is my homegrown, by the way. Yep, that's a bridge. Yeah, get a couple of ounces out of that. Anyway. What else we got? Yeah, so I went to the motor show yesterday. That was the highlight of the motor show, in my opinion. Oh, come on. You can stream video very fast. There we go. Ford Mustang. It's yellow. 4999. But I did say in the commentary in the video, Detroit Steel, that's it there. But yeah, when you look at the pricing of cars here in Australia, I just went straight, Freudian slip. Look at the price of cars in Thailand. Typically, the city vehicles you see are priced, 700 or 1,000, 700,000 to 1,000,000 baht for every 1,000 litres of vehicle. So it works out right. 5 litre, that's 5,000 baht. That's a 1,000,000 baht per litre. But yeah, no, I can see myself driving one of those. Anybody got spare 5 million baht? That want to just give me? Anyway, fun and games. But yeah, EV was big. There's a couple of shots I did on my phone, but yeah, some interesting little scooters running around the place, EV powers. But yeah, you'll have to wait for the video when I get my finger out and make the encode it. At what age will an expat not be able to get health insurance? I'm with. Really, I don't have a look at my policies when it comes to health insurance time. I'm with the LMG. I'm with LMG, and they will cover me up to 100 years old. But the policy does increase in value. Right now, it's like 62,000 baht a year for my age group. I think when I turn 70, it goes up to at current value, it goes up to 75,000 baht. And it's a sliding scale up to, I think, 75, where it caps out at about 100,000 baht a year or something like that. But yeah, so different policies have different things. But yeah, you've got to make sure that you got to. That's the only reason why I took, apart from the visa requirements, is the fact that you want to get on the program, because they won't take you on the program if you're older than 75, if you know what I mean. So you've got to be in the program before 75, then they'll pay you out to 100. Well, cover you to 100 as long as you pay the premiums. At best to shop around a few companies. If you get in early, we'll go through. if you get in early, we'll go through to death, but we'll cut you off at 75 to 80. Yeah, okay, well that's, yeah, the different policies have different things. But yeah, how long are you going to live? Yeah, these are some things that are up in the air, aren't they? God, my camera takes some fucking good photos. Anyway. I think that's enough for us. Well, 1 hour. Look at that. Any questions before we time out? I'm not going to fix Chanya's iPhone. I haven't been able to get any of her shorts or her TikTok videos she's made over the last 2 weeks because she's been doing on her iPhone, and we haven't synced her Google Cloud up to her iPhone yet. And I'm going to sort that out this weekend. At least because we share photos. When she takes photos on her other phone, they sync, so we share the photo album. But yeah, she hasn't fixed the iPhone up. The girl's just too sexy. Oh my god. As Todd would say, she's a real unicorn, that one. Anyway, I'm out of here. I need to go to the bathroom. So, love you guys and leave you. Let's change back to, what are we going to change back to the big screen? Where are we? I forgot where the other one is. Streaming, there we go. Yeah, excellent. Good night. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Yeah, look, if you want to talk about property stuff, we can go and we used to do it a couple of years ago. We go and look at the property market. And, you know, if you're thinking of coming over here to stay, we can look at this area, we look at Bangkok, a few areas. Give us a few ideas where, you know, we've got 2 or 3 real estate sites we can cruise through and check out housing prices. You know, I've seen some pretty cheap ones, and I've seen, 150 million baht for some of the condos in Bangkok. What? Some of them get pretty expensive. Anyway, I'm out of here. I don't want to keep you guys here. Probably got a whole weekend full of adventure. Closing screen. Okay, peace out, and we'll catch you next week.